Did you read the book or listen to it?
I read it.
Nice. Do you think, are there any ways that are coming up, like that are on your heart or mind right now that you think I might be able to offer some support?
I think it was just a huge, how can I put it, wake up, really. I'm not a big reader, and I followed your stuff on Facebook, and I found it really interesting. And I just thought, I'm going to get this book, and I'm going to give it a read and see what it's all about. And I loved it.
Awesome. What was the wake up? I'm curious about that. What was it waking you up from?
Well, the way I feel was not to take on anybody's negativity and, just work with, people have opinions, people change minds, people do things. But for me, I would always take that on as if it was my issue as well. And it's not my issue, it's their issue, and they have to deal with it in their own way. It was more very cathartic, really.
Awesome. Yeah, what I'm hearing, and what is a big takeaway from me, because I do believe like the best way of learning something is teaching it. So by me writing the book or getting the book written, I really I'm embodying exactly what you're talking about, and not being like duped by other people's spells or projections, and really holding myself accountable. So what I'm hearing maybe is what you're doing, or maybe it's what's catalyzing for you, is like I get to accurately report what's happening in my life. That seems like one of the most valuable things I can do, not only for myself, but for the other people on Earth, my friends, my family. All of a sudden, I have more friends and more family, and better friends and better family, because instead of me projecting my ideas and saying you when I actually mean I, basically reporting what's happening for me, and then listening to other people. And this is where it does get, and this is what I would encourage you to do to see how this works out for you, since the book seemed to be impactful on you. If someone does start, if you catch ever someone starting to project upon you, like let's say, I saw from your Facebook profile, do you do hair? Is that?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so I bet you can, man. Oh my goodness.
A lot of emotions in front of me all day.
I can only imagine. So what I've done, especially in my events, you'll be able to discern how you want to do this at your gig or not. But when someone is going through a really challenging time, or they're being challenged by life from their perspective, and they're telling me, when you do this and this happens, or when you run out of money, or when you take that trip and you're tired and you get jet lag, and how all these things happen, I'm like, I've started telling people, like, by you, do you mean you? Because what you're saying, like, I honor what you're saying, and I'm happy that I'm holding a space where you're authentically expressing your feelings. But you keep, when you say you, I get confused. Are you talking about me? Because that's not true for me. What you're saying is not true for me. Maybe it used to be true, and something about that, man, I don't know if, like, with the energetics or the. Maybe people would think it's a level of mysticism or spirituality, but that's I feel much more clear with my own energy by just dispelling the you projection, and I trust now for myself, and what's that's done for me is that if I ever do catch myself saying you, I'm trusting I'm saying something very empowering. Like if I'm putting any spell on anybody, I trust a spell of limitlessness, so they can think for themselves and they're not at all limited by my perspective. So that's one thing that's coming up for me in this moment. I'm thinking about how many people must project upon you as you're helping them with their hair. Yeah, and I don't know how you'll do it, but I want to stay in touch beyond this phone call to see what maybe you experience from that. Just maybe getting a little bit more clear, maybe inviting people when they speak to speak in the first person, because if you sat there all day and accepted all the projections from everyone, who would you be? You would just be a victim to everyone else's perspectives.
And I used 12 months ago, I lost my brother, and it was a massive change in my entire life, and I felt that I was the only one that dealt with it, in my opinion, normally, because my parents still don't deal with it very well, my other brother doesn't deal with it very well, but I look at it as the way that was his time, that was his calling, that's how it's meant to be.
And when
in
you
my
say when other people are not dealing with it as well, what do you mean by that?
You know, my mother can't accept it, which it's very hard. I've never been a parent. I never will be a parent, so I don't understand her reaction to losing a child because I'll never have that feeling. Whereas losing a sibling is hard, but in my opinion, I believe things happen for a reason. There's a reason for everything, and that's how I got through it. And then by reading your book and coming, like, it was all a big awakening sort of at around the same time. It was great, and I'm going to actually read it again. I've just lent it to one of my friends because she said, oh, I want to have a look at that. So I lent it to her, and I said, when you finish, I'll have it back because I need to read it again because I'm very forgetful.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that with me, and I'm blessed to have 3 siblings, 2 brothers, that are all alive and healthy and thriving. So, fortunately, I can only imagine what that must be like, and yeah, I recognize, like, that's why I was asking about how are they not dealing with it well. Because I don't know if I would ever, I don't know how someone is to deal with something like that, and I'm happy that my book, you found my book or my book found you,
Yeah.
and it's been supportive, and yeah, and I the only thing that I would say about that is when I've had a lot, like, situations that have catalyzed a lot of feelings for me, one of the most healing thing to do is feel them. Regardless of what it looks like, as long as I'm feeling them in a safe way for myself and feeling them for a safe way with others, and that seems to be the most healthy thing. So maybe I trust that that book is serving you in that way.
Yeah, and that's where I sort of passed it on a bit to my parents. I said, look, if you feel sad, let yourself be sad. If you're angry, let yourself be angry. But you also have to remember that he lived. He had a life. While ever you've only dealing on a death or thinking of a death, you haven't let him live.
Yeah, and at the same time, like, for your parents or your family and friends that might not be dealing with it the way you think is best, I guess, like, the thing I would say to you is, like, I trust that even though it doesn't maybe seem the healthiest to you or the best to you, that like you said, they're having their own experience, and
Yes.
and I've had issues with how my family has dealt with things in the past, especially intense things, and I don't agree with it, but it has held me accountable to find a whole nother space of, like, love and surrender in my heart. Like, even though they're reacting this way, can I still show them the love that I have for them in my heart? And that's one thing I felt led to remind myself now that you're telling me this. Another one, when you said you'll never have children, I'm not exactly sure the details of that, but I remember when my friend JP, you probably know JP from online,
Yeah.
he once told me something similar to me about that, and all I remember is that was one of the least congruent things that I've ever heard him say, is my perspective. And now, and years later, now it sounds like he might be ready. He's engaged. He might be ready to have a child. So I'll just say that I'll just remind myself about the never say never thing. Who knows? I just leave room in your heart for anything to change or a miracle to happen.
That's right. I would never stop it, but at this point in my life, I don't see it happening.
Cool.
But
I'm obviously
change.
a happy biased dad too. Well, man, I approaching 11 minutes pretty quickly here. I'm just super grateful for you. Like, I'm super grateful for you to take me up on this offer, and that you were blessed by the book, and now you're blessing other people with it, and that you're just courageous enough to communicate about things that matter.
I think everybody should be, in my opinion. I think everybody should be open to new experiences, new life, pass it on.
Well, thank you for leading the way with that. And I would encourage you to keep doing it, and there's no limit. There's no limit.
And I've been doing your every morning. I have a freezing cold shower. The first 2 days wasn't the best, but I got used to it, and it works. It does. I used to wake up feeling tired and exhausted, and then having to go to work feeling tired. And now, after probably about a month of doing it, now I'm used to it, and it's invigorating.
Nice. No, I'm happy to hear that. I jumped in the freezer right before this call. It's quite the hack. I'm like, how can I not feel alive and like clean and good when I'm in freezing water? I know it's not always easy to put myself in that situation, but the results continuously are worth it. Well, thank you, brother. That was a solid 11 minutes. These things are bending time for me. I feel like very fulfilling time with you here. And man, let's stay in touch. Maybe we'll see you one day. Maybe in Australia, maybe somewhere else. Who knows?
I would love to. And thank you for just being you and putting it out there, because I think everybody needs to listen to you and needs to read the book.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, let's keep passing the message along and keep living it out loud. So, all right, much love, brother. Talk to you soon.
Run, guan, guan, guan. Run, guan, guan, guan. Run, guan, guan, guan. Run, guan, guan, guan. Run, guan, guan, guan.